with our audience join in here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to visiting lecture today. For everyone, Tutus who has entered the room, we are about to begin, so please have a seat and make yourself comfortable. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Honorable Dr. Serhii Rudyshun, and a very warm welcome to the all of participants and students from STEKOM University. Is it indeed a pleasure to have all of you on this memorable occasion? And I would like to thank God for gathering us here in a visiting lecture program regarding genetically modified organism problem of creation, consumption, distribution from the position of ecotrophology. Before we begin, please allow me to read our agenda this afternoon. First, there will be opened by Dr. Serhii Rudyshun. Second, and we will continue with question and answer session after the presentation and continue with a brief for photo session at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we will open this class with Dr. Serhii. Yeah, for Dr. Serhii, the time is yours. Thank you.
Greetings from Ukraine. Alam Dari Ukraina. Selama. Allow me to introduce myself, Serhii Rudyshun, Professor, Head of the Department of Theory and Methods of Teaching Natural Sciences, Hlukhiv National Pedagogical University, Ukraine. What is important to say? We are at war with the enemy of the entire democratic world, Russia. We will win. Before I begin my speech, I'd like to thank you, University STEKOM, for inviting me here. So let's get started. The title of the report, Genetically Modified Organisms, GMOs, Problems of Creation, Prospects of Use from point of view of ecotrophology. Ecotrophology is ecological safe nutrition. Top our question. What is genetically modified organism? Are the genetically modified crops important? Ecotrophology, ecologically safe nutrition. We will try to find answers to the question, are genetically modified plants safe for us? Are DNA of genetically modified plants danger for us as a food? Introduction. Today in the world, we have two urgent scientific and political problems, food and safety, environmental in particular. All other political, social, economics, energy, demographic, modern technology are directly or indirectly related to them. There are currently over 7.5 billion people on planet and expected to rise to 9.5 the creation and distribution of GMO plants of the Green Revolution to relate to providing humanity the food with regard global warming and creation new varieties with salt resistant draws other. Слушай, тут все у меня сбилось в этой ход. Смотри. So just a moment. One mistake. Sorry. The problem of GMO plants started Irina Yermakova. Irina Yermakova, who studied that if we eat GMO plants, we From the beginning of research 2005 in this direction, the mass media presented GMOs as a dangerous. This question was raised by Irina Yermakova, who stated that GMOs lead to infertility, oncology, the appearance of genetic monster, and increase in the mortality rate of people/animals and reduction of biodiversity. A book by Irina Yermakova titled GMO War of the World was published. The scientific community criticized Yermakova's report. Was the violation of organization of the experiment and incorrect processing of obtained data. Yermakova's results were not confirmed in independent experiments. However, the danger of GMOs have been widely published in the internet and in the mass media. In a number of countries, restriction of release of GMOs into environment have been adopted and the legalized level. Look, at the beginning of the 21st century, people were protesting against GMOs. They were just afraid of it. They didn't know what it was. Slogan: let artificial people eat artificial food. We don't want to become mutants. About GMOs, memes in the media. Of course, this is unusual. The tail from scorpions, the body of a banana, and the head of a fish. I will say, even if such organisms were created, they are safer to eat. Their chemical composition is similar to natural products. Let's talk about GMOs without emotion. Since 2007, the world's leading magazine, Nature Biotechnology, has started a scientific discussion with Yermakova and with supporters of banning of GMOs. You can follow the scientific debates for yes and against GMOs on various scientific sites too. Professional genetics are calmer and more tolerant than journalists. Scientists from different countries formulated their objections and questions regarding to purity of experiment and conclusions to Yermakova. In particular, in Yermakova's experiment, the higher mortality of rats is due to the fact that fresh soybeans contain poisonous proteins and that neutralized by intensive steaming. Yermakova does not talk about it. If soybean seeds are only soaked and not steamed, especially in pressure cooker, then such a product is poisonous to rat. Such knowledge is not difficult for modern person. Briefly about photosynthesis, I'd like turn attention and I'd like to turn attention. I'd like to turn attention to detailed question: how food is formed on the planet. If we take the solar energy at 100%, about 30% of sun's energy is returned to space. 9% is absorbed by atmosphere, soil, hydrosphere, spent to evaporation and precipitation. The rest of energy, only 1%, is accumulated in the form of the plant biomass, photosynthesis. We eat products of action of sun and green plants, products of photosynthesis. Briefly about photosynthesis. So, such school knowledge is not difficult for the modern person. Plants carry out of the process of converting energy light into the energy of chemical bonds of organic compounds with the participation of chlorophyll. The great equation general equation of photosynthesis can be represented as follows: carbon dioxide, water, energy of light, chlorophyll, glucose, and oxygen. So the energy of all food is energy of sunlight preserved in chemical bonds. Sample trusts. Plants give us food and oxygen for breathing. And then the energy of the food is distributed along the food chain of biodiversity, of ecological pyramid. So save biological and landscape variety, and it save us. Save biological and landscape variety, it save us. Eco calculation regarding food problems. The biosphere capable of reliably feeding 1 billion people and at the same time self-regenerating 1 billion people and at the same time self-regenerating. Thus, is due to the action of two laws of ecology. First, only 1% of the net output of photosynthesis is used in all links of natural trophic chains. 2. Lindemann's 10% law. Only 10% of energy passes from the chain of the trophic pyramid to a higher one, which a consequence on the second law of thermodynamics. You and I are primary and second level consumers. Primary and second level consumers. We cannot stop the classic law of ecology. We must take them into account. Ecological pyramid. Begin the producer, green plants at the bottom level and continue up through one or more levels of consumer. 10,000 primary level, 100,000 primary level, 10 primary consumers, 100 secondary consumers, etc. We are here. We are here. We are herbivorous, consumer of the first level, and carnivorous, consumers of second level. Thus, we must go down one step of the ecological food pyramid, specifically to soybean, and not waste 20% of the protein from animals for food. An illustrative example of the law of 10%. Feed a pig weighing 200 kilograms. Calculation: 200 kilogram, 10 persons, x kilogram, 100 persons. It means that 200 kilograms of potato, beets, and other vegetable food are needed to grow it. Low 10%. If we take into account that the water content in plants is up to 50%, then 3,000 kilograms is needed. Let's note, Islam forbids eating pork. In Ukraine, for Christians, it's possible. Let's be tolerant of national tradition and different religions. They are a type of social inheritance. We are all Cro-Magnons. DNA is the same. The genetic code is universal. Why soybean? Why soybean? Soybean was grown in China as early as 500 BC. Soybean is identical to animal protein in terms of amino acid composition. Protein 40%, fat 20%, carbohydrates 20%, macro/micro elements, vitamin of group B and E, etc. The amount of protein from 1 hectare of soybeans is 3 times higher compared to wheat. The creation and distribution of GMO plants of the Green Revolution too is directly related to providing humans with food, especially protein. The most common GMO plants in the world. New varieties new GMO varieties are rapidly gaining popularity in the world. In particular, the areas under the 5 most common crops: cotton, sugar beet, soybean, corn, canola, etc., is that 30% of the world's crops. Today, it's difficult to name a type of plant whose cultural representatives are not genetically modified. Green: countries where GMOs are grown. 2010 years. Look. Green: countries where GMOs are grown. The spread of GMO in the world is an irreversible process. 2022, the areas have increased. Let's compare USA, Canada, Brazil, etc. Increased. Rice is the main food crop for more than 3 billion people in the world. The golden rice is triumph for science. Golden rice is a triumph of science. The golden rice combats vitamin A deficiency in areas of the world where diseases is endemical and saves 1 million children a year. Red. In red, countries with genetically low levels of vitamin A in food. Brown colors, medium level. Countries that were not studied are make a blue. In Indonesia, the main agricultural crops are rice, 2 harvests per year. Golden rice is genetically modified organism. Creator Ingo Patricus, 1999. Ingo Patricus, a professor of plant science of the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. Golden rice created to fight blindness and death in children, provided 60% of the vitamin A they need in a daily service of rice. News from the Philippines.
Wait for this technical problem. We'll try to reconnect. One minute, please.
It's okay.
1 minute, please. Okay.
Mbak Udene, Mbak Feb, Udene, co-hostnya. Okay.
Okay. Oh, thank you. We have the voice now. Так, wait, please.
Меня хоть
А я много разу.
Выбирайте.
Sorry, one minute.
Thank you. News from Philippines about golden rice. Return. Ой, дальше, назад. Еще назад.
This one.
О. Golden все равно.
I'm sorry. Давайте тоді не на повну, а на...
Давай на половину.
На половинку, да. Тоді, one minute, please. Ну, тоді так, от вниз.
Добре. Поки що ж вона не хоче возвращатися.
Ні, так дивіться. Вниз, вверх. Отак.
Що вниз вверх?
Ну, на сюди.
Ага. Rice is the main food crops for more than 3 billion people in the world. The golden rice is a triumph of science. In red, countries with the clinically low levels of vitamin A in food, red. Ні, я ще не хочу переключити. Brown, medium level, blue, not studied are. In Indonesia, the main agricultural crops are rice, 2 harvests per year. Golden rice created Ingo Patricus, 1999. Golden rice created for fight blindness and death in children provides 60% of vitamin A they need in a daily serving of rice. News from Philippines. Reynant Ordoño, lead at the Healthier Rice Projects at the Department of Agriculture Philippine Rice Research Institute. Golden rice first announced in 1999 may finally their markets in 2023. Now, the Philippines became the first country to approve commercial production of golden rice. Have higher level of beta-carotene, which the body converts to vitamin A. Beta-carotene gives the rice a golden yellow color. It does fruit for vegetables like papaya and carrots. Anyone who has never studied biology knows that paternity is determined by DNA. Paternity is determined by DNA. Let's recall something about DNA. All living organisms, from viruses to mammals and we, contain the only 4 nodes of life nucleotides: adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine of DNA, the molecule of heredity, GMOs contain the same DNA. GMOs contain the same DNA. Arguments for scientific regarding GMO. First of all, the genetic code is universal. All living organisms, from viruses to mammals, contain the only 4 nodes of the life nucleotides, adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine of DNA. Therefore, recombinant hybrid DNA is not unnatural. 2, all proteins of the biosphere consist 20 amino acids, which are encoded by the same triplets. 3, genetic engineers create GM plants with the participation of natural tools, enzymes, restrictase, ligase, polymerases, exonucleases, isolated from the living organisms, bacterial plasmids. 4, bacterial plasmids and viruses has a natural mechanism to integrate it into plant cells. Scientists use natural tools for transgenesis to create GMO. Let's consider how a foreign gene is transformed into another organism. How foreign gene is transformed into another organism. Bacterial plasmids are useful for this. Bacterial plasmids have a natural mechanism to integrate into plant cells. A bacterial plasmid is a taxi for genes, which is used by genetically engineer. Look, cell of bacteria. Bacterial cells don't have the nuclei as we have. We see circular DNA molecules and the small plasmid. Natural genetic engineering. Look at the picture. Malignant tumors. Malignant tumors of plants were described by Aristotle under the name crowned gall. It's rough growth of plants. In 1904, they found out these plant tumors are caused by soil Agrobacterium tumefaciens. These tumors are caused soil Agrobacteria tumefaciens. In 1974, it was established that malignant tumors are caused TI plasmids, tumor-inducing, of this Agrobacteria. Natural genetic engineering. TI plasmid, PTI, tumor-inducing, cause the formation of malignant tumors in the nature. They have oncogenic areas of T DNK. T plasmids have T site DNA. T site DNA cause malignant tumors. As well, areas that determine the morphology of tumors. tDNA is naturally integrated into the plant's nuclear DNA. We get transferred plant. Scientists used natural tools for transgenesis. Sorry, but this is the simplest metaphorical explanation of molecular biology. Sorry. A genetic engineer isolates a gene from one organism and inserts it into another. For this, he uses natural tools, enzymes, restrictases, and restrictases recognize cut out of the gene from the donor organism, ligases, enzymes too, needles/glue, with their help to sew glue a new gene into the recipient's genome, and also use bacterial plasmids or virus as taxi for genes. More than 500 restriction enzymes are known, which cut the DNA of all organisms only in certain places with the formation of sticky ends. So, cut out with scissors, sewed with needle, transformed by plasmid taxi. Sorry, but it is simplest metaphorical explanation of molecular biology. Let's talk a close to the next slide. Enzymes, restrictase as sizes, and ligases like glue or needle. More than 500 restriction enzymes are known which cut DNA in a specific place. Enzyme cut the DNA, ferments sticky ends, foreign DNA is glued there. Algorithm of action in the genetic engineer. Oncogene are cut out from the TI plasmid. We have TI plasmid natural cut out by restrictases, and a new gene is sewn in their place by ligases. At the same time, the plasmid loses only oncogenic ones properties and is capable make input new genetic information in the genome recipient plants. We receive GMOs. This slide is simple algorithm of action of genetics in genome. We have TI plasmid, restrictase cut out oncogene, and sew gene as we needed. We receive GMOs without tumors. We don't touch this topic about CRISPR gene editing. It's a human genetic engineering. A separate lecture is required. Technology opens the way to the fight against cancer. This is a unique technology that enables researchers to edit parts of the genome by removing, adding, and altering section of the DNA sequence. We don't touch this topic. Look here, genetic transformation, GMO, is not new to the biosphere. About 70% of the world population under the age of 50 is infected with herpes. Maybe we all GMOs too. Viruses and bacterial plasmids have a natural mechanism to embedding into the genetic apparatus of eukaryotes and even inherited. For example, the herpes virus is a transmitted simile of HIV. In the human genome, the nucleotide sequences of the viruses and mobile elements account for 0.5% of genome. No one has refused the viral theory of cancer. The phenomenon of genetic transformation is not new for biosphere, but only one of numerous mechanisms of horizontal transgenesis. Zilber's viral theory of cancer. Perhaps each of us can have an oncogene in the latent state. Bad perspective, but it's true. Oncology is number of the diseases in the world. No one refused Zilber's viral theory of cancer. Zilber's theory is based on the fact that the virus integrates into the genome of cells and cause the malignant transformation of normal cells into malignant ones. That is, we are also GMO. Transgenic potato. Actual transgenic potato with a gene of the agrobacterium Bacillus thuringiensis, BT protein, abbreviature BT short, Bacillus thuringiensis. In GMO potato leaves contain a gene from bacterium that synthesizes a protein, BT protein, which make digesting impossible insect. Colorado potato beetle. The insect simply died of hunger. Protein is not harmful for humans. It's digested in amino acid, carbon dioxide, and water. Monsanto has created transgenic potato varieties of the name New Leaf, Ceres, Atlantic, Superior, Russet, Burbank, etc. The potato, GMO potatoes are mostly used on an industrial scale for the production of starch, so used for pig feed. GMO corn, maize, against the butterfly pest. The bacterial gene is added to the plant. Bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis 2 produces the BT protein that is toxic to the pest. Corn butterfly eats the protein and died. Next argument about GMOs. No example of migration of transgenes from GMO plants to other. No example of migration of transgenes from GMO plants to others. No example of impact of GMOs on population structure in agrocynosis have been restricted. Superweeds don't appear by hybridization GMO plants with the wild relatives. That's a good fact. The ecological risk of growing transgenic plants can be compared with the risk of testing the new breeding varieties obtained in the usual way. The ecological risk of growing transgenic plants can be compared with the risk of testing new breeding varieties obtained the usual way. Is there a danger from the DNA we consume with food? Is there a danger from the DNA we consume with food? In the gestative tract, foreign DNA is destroyed by nuclease enzymes into monomers, nucleotides, which are absorbed by cells for their own needs. Molecular nucleases equally cut the DNA of viruses, bacteria, plants, mushrooms, or animals. There is no scientific reports that individual genes or DNA fragments of food are incorporated in the genetic materials of human cells or mammalia in general. Eat DNA and don't worry. The body of an adult is made up of about 30 trillion cells. We have 30 trillion cells. Each cell contains water, DNA, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and minerals. Every day we eat foreign DNA, proteins, foreign carbohydrates, and fats of animal, fish, and plants, and they become our native. Eat what you like and don't worry. We are all Cro-Magnons with karyotype 46 chromosomes. And for 200,000 years, our genomes has not changed from food. We are all Cro-Magnons. Biosafety inspection of all plant objects. The fact is that almost 25% of modern medicines contain herbal ingredients, alkaloids, terpenoids, glycosides, flavonoids, essential oils, etc. An example of the allergens of citrus fruits, chocolate, known drugs, cannabis, opium poppy. Another example, curare, is an extract of alkaloid poison from the bug plants Strychnos toxifera. Stop breathing, the animal stopped moving, and later died from respiratory arrest. Therefore, it's necessary to study the allergic, toxic, cancerogenic effects of all plants, not only GMOs. Does anyone have any comments? List of the GMO products incomplete. How to establish the presence of GMOs in food. In general, the use of specialized DNA microchips, laboratory use of specialized DNA microchips makes it possible to carry out mass screening, sorting of food products and raw materials for the presence of transgenes. In general, polymerase chain reaction. In Ukraine, 2021, red detected GMO. Also officially, they say they don't grow it. Great economic benefit from GMO lands. Society right to choose. Society has the right to choose whether to eat organic or genetically modified food. The state must ensure the labeling of GMO products. Internet meme, GMO free salt or non-GMO toilet paper. In Europe, the standard for the content of GMOs is in food in no more than 0.9%. In Europe, in Japan, 5%. In the USA and Canada, more than 10%. Developed Project 2022, Project Food Safety and Standards, Genetically Modified Foods Regulations. Packaged food products that contain 1% or more in GMO ingredients must be labeled with the word will be written contain genetically modified organisms, specially produced with genetical engineering. This is Project 2022. Argument next regarding GMOs about money. In indirect arguments for the safety of the products, in fact, that in the USA, there has not been single lawsuit for compensation for health risk from GMOs. Also, the law received up to 11% of amount of the lawsuit. At the end of the lecture, about GMO and countries of the golden billion. The perception of pluses, social good, and minuses, social risk of scientific and technological progress divided the world into golden billion, countries with a higher standard of living and third worlds with a lower standard of living. Slogan, back to nature, beautiful, back to nature. Living as before does not ensure the future of our children and grandchildren. GMOs are useful for creating varieties that are resistant to diseases and pests, drought resistant, salt resistant, producing human insulin, producing fermented beverages, and others.
Sorry, we must reconnect. Have some problem. 1 minute, please.
It's okay, sir.
Sorry, just a moment. Let's look at the map of the average life expectancy of the population. The countries of the golden billion have the highest one. Conclusion. The ecological risk growing transgenic plants can be compared with the risk of testing new breeding varieties obtained in the usual way. DNA from genetically modified organisms is as safe as any other food DNA. No published evidence that GMO foods will not change your DNA. Synthetic products, food additives, residues, nitrates, pesticides, aflatoxin, heavy metal, radionuclides, antibiotics, preservatives, antioxidants, synthetic dyes, and other additives are potentially dangerous. Synthetic products, food additives. It is necessary to check all plants and products from them and not only GME. Such knowledge will be useful for everyone on the planet. Today in the world, we have two urgent scientific and political problems: food and safety, environmental especially. Thank you for listening. I hope you found it interesting. Terima kasih. It will be interesting to hear your comments and questions.
Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. Yeah, for all audience, if you wanna ask question, you can raise your hand or you can write in the room chat. Thank you. Okay, for first question, we have question from Mr. Faiz. Can DNA food design to make the plant able to live in different conditions? For example, what or grain can be planted in tropical climate? Thank you.
Thank you for question, Mr. Faiz.
Yeah.
Discussion is always necessary. The lecture presented scientific facts about the safety of growing and eating GMO plants for all world. The principal polemic about GMOs is useful because it required genetical environments constantly improve GMO varieties. About South country, all country, we have global warming. We have increased pest weeds, diseases, and new GMO varieties help us to quickly creation new varieties with specific properties. Because traditional hybridization selection is 10-20 years.
Okay, thank you. And then we will go to the next question. in research conduct, such as missing genes, such as animal or plant, are there any problem that arise? If so, how do we solve it? This is question from Miss Achaicha. Thank you.
Excuse me, I don't quite follow you. Could you paraphrase your question, please?
Pardon?
About animal risk and human.
Yes.
Eat it.
Yeah, yes, correct.
No problems. I agree.
Oh, okay. Okay, and the next question. What caused the herpes virus to be infected human? And why is this virus the same with HIV? HIV? This is question from Miss Sukamto. Thank you. I'm ready right in the room. Just a moment, please.
Repeat, please. I don't understand.
What
Slowly, please.
what caused the herpes virus to be infected to human? And why herpes virus same with HIV? HIV. Sorry. I'm ready right in the room chat.
This is medical problems and usual problems. Herpes, HIV, and other modern diseases is cycle biosphere. I say that 70% of population of the world infected herpes and it latent state. As we disease any infected or temperature or stress, it starts produced your effect. I say that Zilber theory viral, not refuse. This topic, this title of the special topic, but it's medical problems. The golden monuments who resolved the cancer or herpes. It's a problem of our. We must careful.
Okay. I get it, sir. And the last question, is it okay?
No. All just a moment. Mixed genes, all DNA of all animals, plants, mushrooms had only 4 nucleotide: adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. Genetic code is universal for viruses, for us, for mammals.
Okay. May I asking for the last question?
Yes.
Okay. In Indonesia, actually rice is a daily food for us, and because is it many for rice a lot of production, and rice that is given artificial fertilizer so that it's grown quickly. Will there be any impact of human if using not nature for the growing rice. Is there a way to deal with this safely and still wait for consumption? Thank you.
What problem, excuse me, what problem about rice in Indonesia? I don't understand.
Actually, kan daily food for us like bread or pastry, and then forest have many production for our people. Uh,
Thank you.
yes.
It is not correct to place the blame on only GMOs for the danger as a food. Pesticides, fertilizers, radionuclides are especially dangerous in food. Scientific fact, dangerous ionizing radiation. We have Chernobyl, 1946. We have Fukushima, 2011. And we have in Ukraine for almost 76 years after Chernobyl, the radiation situation was improved by the half-life of radionuclides, strontium-20, cesium-137. About the we must choose organic crop, organic crop without pesticides, without fertilizer, without another, but it impossible. We must pay for this.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for answering, Dr. Serhii. Yeah, I think we don't have no more question again. May I continue to the next session for theme picture? Yeah. Yeah, for Miss Febri will be handled. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Novita. Okay, thank you, Miss Novita. For those who haven't activated the camera, you can active the camera first so we can take photos together. Ya, bagi peserta yang belum mengaktifkan kameranya, bisa diaktifkan terlebih dahulu agar kita bisa mendokumentasi acara di siang hari ini. Baik, let me confirm 1, 2, 3. Okay, once again, smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you. I will return the event to Miss Novita.
Finally, we come to the end of visiting lecture today. We would like to say thanks again for all the speakers for their wonderful information. Thank you for Dr. Serhii for sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for our audience. And I hope we can meet again in another event in the future with the HNPU University. It's in great pleasure to have all of you in this memorable occasion. Also, I would like thanks for all participants for attending this visiting lecture and making this even more interesting. At least we hope to have more collaboration in the future. The visiting lecture for today ends here. We hope to see you soon. Thank you and have a nice day for Dr. Serhii and Dimitro and our audience. Yeah.
Terima kasih. Good luck.
Wah, terima kasih. Well, thank you. Goodbye.
meeting with our university. We hope the next week we have a good new election with our university. We're sorry for some problems what we have today, because we have in our country massive rocket attack, missile attack from Russian Federation, and in our city we have no electricity and no internet, and we must but we hope not looking for these problems. What was during the election? The election was very interesting for you, and very interesting for your students too.
Okay. Thank you so much for Dr. Dimitro. We hope everything will be okay in there.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, Dokter.
Ya, bagi peserta yang belum absen, bisa absen terlebih dahulu. Yang absen sudah tertera di kolom chat. Sebelum saya akhiri, baik Bapak Ibu yang belum absen, bisa absen terlebih dahulu. Oke, saya kira cukup. I think that's all for today's event. Thank you. Good afternoon. Have a good rest. Bye-bye.